The New Orleans Pelicans are 18-18. That is 8th in the West. Now they have the two of the arguably best big men in the league. If you talk about Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. So today I ask, can these two big stars lead this team to the playoffs? And if so, how far can they go? We'll answer that and a few more on this episode of Hoop Nerds. Before I begin, I just want to say if everybody out there could give this video a big thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel and you like what I do here, I talk basketball, please subscribe to this channel and let's be hoop nerds together. What's up everybody, it's your boy Mikey Prince, aka Kid with Game. Welcome to Hoop Nerds. Hope everybody had a good year. 2018, here we are. We're going to start right off fresh, right off the bat. Here we go. The New Orleans Pelicans, baby, they are 18-18 in the West. Now, the big question is with this team, they do have two of the best superstars. They have Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. So the big question is, can this team make the playoffs? How far can they go into the playoffs? Now with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, two things about them. One, Anthony Davis has only been to the playoffs once in his entire career. That was it. And it was as an 8th seed, and they got swept by the Golden State Warriors back in 2015 when they won their first ever NBA championship. Now, DeMarcus Cousins, on the other hand, has never been to the playoffs. We have yet to see what playoff boogie is like. Now, we're all hoping that this year could be the year that he could finally end that streak. DeMarcus Cousins has a long history of being, arrogant on the floor. He's hot-headed. He's always getting into technical fouls. He's getting kicked off. A lot of things are happening to him. So there's always that big issue about, can he really be that leader? Can he really be that guy? Can he really be that go-getter to just go out there and help a team into the playoffs? So this year, this is his contract year. He has a lot to prove. He could be a free agent next year. He could walk. So this is a big year to see how fire and ice of this duo can really work out. And there are a lot of good things you could take away from this. You could take away from the fact that they play well together. Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins have shown, even last season during the second half and this season, that they play really, really well together. This season going forward, though, however, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins are still one of the top leading big men. I mean, both of these guys are averaging 26 points a game and the other one's averaging 25 points a game. You're talking about two big guys on the same team averaging almost 30 points a game. They're both averaging double digits in rebounding, one's 12, one's 10. DeMarcus Cousins is averaging 5 assists a game, which has always been his thing the last few years, that he's one of the better big men that can actually pass the ball, and he does it well here. They are leading and they have the best blocks in 2 blocks a game in Anthony Davis, 1.5 in DeMarcus Cousins. So the defense is there between these two. Offense is there between these two. They're getting their rebounds. One's getting the assist. They're not shooting that bad from the floor, actually. I believe DeMarcus Cousins right now is at 47%. Anthony Davis is at 56%. And even from the three, they're both shooting around 36% from the field from the three-point line. The big key about this team, in my opinion, the real big game changer is when they brought in Rondo. They do have, which moved Jrue Holiday to the second, so that made him more of a shooter, and he's actually not doing that bad either. As a shooting guard, he's averaging 18 points a game. He's shooting just under 50% from the field. 34% from the three-point line, 83% from the free throw line. So he's definitely a better shooter now, moving at the two-guard spot. You do have Rondo, who's averaging just around 9 assists a game. He did miss a huge part earlier into the season when he had a hernia he had to get operated on and all that. So he did miss a huge part. They had moved Jrue Holiday back to the 1. So they have the raw talent. They kind of have that core there that's really working out for them right now when you talk about the Rondo, Jrue Holiday, and the towers of Cousins and Anthony Davis. The real big issue, of course, in my opinion, is they don't have a wing. They do have Dante Cunningham out there that really is their 3, and he's doing okay. He's really not, he's averaging around like 5 points a game. He shoots from the 3. They also use Etuan Moore a lot. They do play a lot of small ball, even though you look at Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and that's not small ball, but the 1, 2, and 3 is usually, because you have Etuan Moore at the small forward or something like that, or they might even go with like an Ian Clark. I mean, they have good backcourt players, I would say. They just don't really have a good small forward. They don't have a good wing score. They don't have someone that if you're double teaming Cousins and you're double teaming Davis, who do you kick it out to? They don't have someone of a good reliable shooter, a real perimeter threat. Jrue Holiday, even though he is playing good, he's not a real good three-point shooter. He is a guy that likes to take a dribble into the paint and shoot it. Rondo is not a shooter at all. He's always going to be the passer, the facilitator. He's going to have you go out there and look for those assists and those real good highlight plays and all that, which is good, which is something they definitely do need, especially when you do have two big players that can hurt you in the post. They could rebound, they could take mid-range, they could take threes, they could run the court. So having a good point guard to support these two big men is definitely a must. And I think Rondo does do a really good job as fulfilling that role, even though he is older in the league and he has been in the league for a while, which is also bring veteranship, which you like. They also brought in a defensive player like Tony Allen. Although he hasn't been playing well and he's been injured a lot. He hasn't really gotten the minutes a lot. He is way out of his prime, even though he is still probably one of the best defensive two guards in the league. But if they had him a few years ago, maybe. This season, not so much. So I really think that they just need that wing. But take that wing aside, put that aside, look at the team they do have now, their current roster, and you look at if DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis can work together to bring a winning culture to this team, I would absolutely say yes. I definitely think just the fact that they're playing well together, they share the ball, they do this thing where once it's on the bench, the other one stays in, and then they switch it, and then they stay in. Like they just complement each other so well. Anthony Davis, he really is crafty at getting to the paint. You know, he could just glide to the rim. He could float up there. Anthony Davis is my favorite basketball player in the NBA right now. It's like a close, like Giannis is like right there, and Anthony Davis is like right there. Like it's close. But DeMarcus Cousins is more of a body, and he's gonna bulldoze his way into the paint. He's gonna fight. He's gonna hurt you down low to get his 2 points, his 3 points, whatever it is. And they just work really well together. So to say that having two superstar bigs are struggling, that's really a head scratcher. And it really does go down to maybe coaching. It does go down to not really having a full reliable team there that you could really count on. There are players on this team that can go off and give you great points. You know, there's a couple games out there where Miller gave you like 21, 25 points a game, but then he doesn't show up a few games later. Same thing with like Ian Clark. He gets you some good buckets, but you don't really see him. Jrue Holiday, even though he is playing great this season as a two guard with Rondo, even when he was the point guard when Rondo was down, he wasn't playing that great earlier on. I mean, a lot of load on this team definitely goes to DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. So can they make the playoffs? I think they can. They're eighth in the West right now. We're in January, so they do have a long way to go to prove. We'll see how they hold up by the All-Star break. I'm predicting that they can be maybe 6th through 8th seed at best. How far can they go? I think they need another reliable scorer that they can go to. They need either if it's a starter or someone off the bench that could provide that extra push to just keep on the scoring. I mean, listen, this team is scoring the ball. I just want to put that out there. This team can score. This team averages 111 points a game. That is third in the NBA. So scoring for this Pelicans team is not a problem. Defense, on the other hand, is a huge problem because they're giving up 111 points per game, and that's 29th in the NBA. That's the second worst team in allowing opponent team to score. So just as much as they're getting their buckets, they're throwing away these buckets. So defense is a huge factor that has to go in, and that's definitely has to come from the other players on the team because Anthony Davis and Marcus Cousins, they're playing defense. They're the leading players in blocks. They have defensive ability. I really think it's just they just don't really have a good bench. They don't have a good, their starting five isn't great. They do need a better small forward, better wing player in that starting lineup. They need a better bench player. So can they make the playoffs with this team in a tough West? I want to say yes, they can. But can they get far? I want to say no. They're probably going to be a first round exit. We're probably going to get a little glimpse of what DeMarcus Cousins could do, and it's just going to be a real big teaser to get that first ever playoff boogie. Look, I really hope he stays in the Pelicans. I really do like the Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins duo. That's my personal opinion. I think they can work out. I think they just need a team. They need other players in the league to look at these two and say, you know what, I want to go to the Pelicans and I want to play for this team. And that's the real challenge. Can they get that? Can they get other teams around the league to look at them too and say, I want to play with these two players? Once that happens, it will be the Pelicans have a real good chance of being one of the better teams in the West, hands down. I know it's a small ball league now, but what Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins could do, they pretty much could play the small ball game with their size and height, and that's incredible. They just need a team. So with that being said, DeMarcus Cousins re-sign next year. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Maybe they just fold and have a horrible season. I hope not. Maybe they pull together and have a great season. I hope so. But are they a first round exit? Most likely. They're so far this early in the season, 18-18, I will say they're definitely a first round exit. But at 18-18, can I say they'll make the playoffs? They can make the playoffs. Anyway, guys, this is my first video of 2018. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It will mean a lot to me. This is Hoop Nerds, baby. This is where we talk basketball. We get to fan out and talk whatever you guys want. If you want me to talk about anything related basketball-wise, make sure you leave in the comments below of whatever you want me to talk about. If you agree or disagree with this video, let me know. What do you think the Pelicans are going to do? Can they make the playoffs? How far can they go? Is Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins a good duo? Let me know. Am I talking? Am I right? Let me know. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. Everybody, be safe. I'll catch you on the next one. Subscribe. Later.